everyone, welcome to Lotus Me Bloom podcast. This is your host, Madison Ansel, and I want to reintroduce myself to anyone that may be new here or just tuning in, and hi to everyone that's been here for a while. I just feel like I haven't really fully introduced myself on this podcast, and when I very first started this podcast, I feel like I was at a very different place in my life. I filmed the very first episode or intro in 2021. It's now 2024, so as you can imagine, a lot has changed over here. And although there's a lot of things that haven't changed, I want to touch on that too, but I just really want you guys to get to know me, get to know who I am, and if this is like a podcast you guys want to stick around and listen to or watch. So let's just get into it. I am 26 years old. I'll be 27, which is insane in September. I just feel like time has went so quickly. Like I still remember being 17 and just trying to navigate through life at that age. And now here I am at 26, still trying to navigate what it is to be an adult. And I think a lot of us think when we're younger, we are going to have it together by like 25 or 23 or whatever. And that's just not the case. And if you are my age or in your 20s, you know what I'm talking about, because life's a struggle, man. Like, I don't think we ever have it figured out. I think that's why you see so many people, like, even in their 50s, just reinventing themselves and opening businesses and, you know, just trying to figure out life and, like, what is our passions and, like, what it is that we want to go after and what actually fucking matters, you know? And by the way, yes, I cuss a lot, and that's just who I am. So if that's not your cup of tea, then you know, there are other podcasts to listen to. Yeah, we're just going to be cutthroat over here because we want to attract the people that are meant to be here. And I'm not trying to, like, you know, steer anyone away, but I definitely don't want people like hanging out that don't resonate. You know, no one wants that. We want to attract our tribe over here. So if cussing offends you, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. But yeah, it's been a struggle. I think I've struggled through a lot of different things and I've learned a lot of things, and this is my outlet. This podcast is my outlet to just talk about all the things, whether it's stuff I've learned through self-development and, you know, my relationship with God, spirit, you know, whatever resonates with you. I have, you know, gone through a lot of different things when it comes to self-development. I've always been the type that has always thought, you know, I needed to work on myself, or, you know, just trying to strive to be the best version of myself. And I got really into self-development when I had like a spiritual awakening in 2018. I've taken so many courses and I've learned a lot of shit that I wish someone could have told me, especially when it comes to what to invest in and how to do things and like, is it worth it? I always joke in a lot of my episodes that I have to learn shit the hard way. And unfortunately, like, there is some truth in that. I am a Taurus rising. I love to blame my Taurus rising. Taurus in general is just stubborn, and any fixed sign, if you have any fixed sign placements, if you're into astrology, you know, this is what we talk about over here. You know, I like to add in the woo-woo, like, kind of fun stuff, but also like real life shit, and that's just who I am. But I love to blame that, but really I don't know if it was like something I signed up for before I came here to Earth, but I do tend to like have to really go through it for me to get the lesson. And so I just want to help people too in that aspect. If you're like me, like, learn from me, y'all. Like, I don't want to be a teacher. I really don't. And I think that is where I had the inspiration to reintroduce myself, because I did feel for a while, I was like, oh, maybe like teaching is kind of like my path and I want to teach other people like what I know. And that's just not my journey anymore. And I don't want to be classified as a teacher. I just want to be a friend. This podcast is just a friend to a friend talking about life and shit they've been through and what they've learned, or some funny shit that they heard along the way. Like, that is my goal for this podcast, because I've always been a little bit of a lone wolf, for sure. I've just always, I don't know, I don't know what the real reason is. Maybe there's just something wrong with me. I have always thought like I just see through people, and I just, I feel like there are a lot of people that don't have great intentions. And I've also just been through a lot of shit with like, friends, and I have just realized like a lot of it's just not worth it. And there's definitely some healing that I've done around it, and like I continue to look at for myself. But I've realized that like keeping your circle small and focusing on yourself and like what you deserve and having those boundaries is just so much more peaceful than like trying to be everybody's friend and trying to fit in, quote unquote, because I've never fit in. I've always like fit in, I guess, like socially, maybe like in that aspect, but I've never felt like I fit in. I always felt like I couldn't relate to anyone my age. I just always felt like my opinions were different. And I've always felt older than who I am, like, or than what I am right now, I guess. Like, but at any age, even at 16, I always felt like I was like 22, I just feel mature in the aspect of like how I look at things. And a lot of things that are important to people my age are just like not necessarily important to me. Not that it's not, I think mid-20s is a weird age anyways, because like half of us are, wanting to build a family. Half of us are still trying to figure it the fuck out. Half of us are, also trying to just have a good time and party. And I think that it's weirder when you get older, for sure, but definitely like when I was younger, early 21 and even before that, I fell into like just trying to chase a feeling, I guess, and I was really lost a good part of my like I don't want to say early 20s, because I figured out by like 21, like, okay, let's get my shit together a little bit. But like all before that, my adolescent years, high school, I was a very like lost individual. And I've talked about this on like other episodes about my mental health and how I really struggled with my mental health. And, I had this like spiritual come to of like, okay, what am I doing with my life? Like, what is making me feel this way? And like, how can I make it better? And I could easily say that is one of the themes of this podcast, is what I've learned through experiences in life and things that I'm currently going through as well. Like I want to share the lows too. I don't want to share just like, hey, this is how I got rid of my anxiety. Here's how you do it, when I still suffer with like anxiety till this day, like I have made an episode all about anxiety. I still struggle with it, and it's on and off for sure. But like, I want to be real and authentic and just be like, yeah, this is what I'm struggling with. It fucking sucks. But like, also, let's get through this and it's going to be fine. And then there are some like more upbeat stuff of like, I do have a human design episode where I'm talking about human design, but that's where I want to reintroduce myself in that way, because I don't really want to be, like I said, a teacher. And I think a lot of my earlier episodes were very much that. And that's why I'm going to make like everything before 2024 like season 1, because it was a different chapter of my life. And I wanted to reintroduce myself, because when I very first filmed my intro to my podcast, it was in 2021. And then I waited months to upload the next one, which was just bad. I should have just did it, but I was going through a apprenticeship to learn how to psychically read people. And I also was, learning how to do Reiki. I became a Reiki practitioner in 2021. And I was just very much on that end of the spectrum of like woo woo, like so ungrounded. And I wanted to talk about some weird psychic shit with you guys, but like that is not what I want to do now. That's not who I am right now at all. Like I had to learn how to balance my life of like, okay, I went to the other end where I was like, I want to be a muggle, Harry Potter reference. I want to be normal. I am way too ungrounded. This shit's fucking with me. And I just couldn't handle that. And I want to like bring awareness to that too, of like, you can go too far. And so I found myself like retracting from all of that. And I'm obviously still very much spiritual. I am very connected to God, but I think the way I look at it is a little bit different now. And I don't want to like talk about my experience or my relationship with God, or like, you know, what spirituality means to me, because it's different for everybody. But I just want to say, like, it's not going to be the podcast that I'm going to talk about like manifesting on the full moon or new moon all the time. Like, yes, I still believe in manifestation and law of attraction, and I want to bring that into this podcast for sure. But I don't want it to be so woo-woo to the point of like I'm talking about soul contracts and like crazy woo-woo stuff on that end. I want to bring it more practical. I want to bring it more, you know, this is my life, and this is how it is being 26 and in the 20s and trying to figure out how to be an adult. And I have learned lessons when it comes to healing and fixing my limiting beliefs and how do I manifest the best life I want to live. And that's what I want to bring more to, is like, how can you better your life? How can you create the life you want to live, but have more of a practical standpoint on it? Because there is a lot of shit out there that's just like so ungrounded, so toxic. And I just want to be real. Like, okay, this is me. This is how I'm doing it. And I want to be able to bring healing to anyone that's listening as well. You know, I want to be able to help people in whatever way I can, whether that's me being a friend and just relating to you about maybe some shit you're going through and I'm going through, and like, let's just be there for each other. Or, hey, like, this is how I helped my anxiety not be as bad as it was. You know what I mean? Or, you know, this is how I did manifest so and so. But I don't want it to be so technical. Like, I found myself really sharing like the step by step. And although like I want to help people that want that, you know, like I want to be that guide for them, especially like living in a small town. I know that there are people that tune in and are very woo-woo, and they don't have that outlet. They don't have anyone to talk to. There's not much of a community of that. I so like sympathize with you if you're listening. And it's not that I'm taking that out of the context. It's just that it's not where I'm at right now in my life. And I don't want to be a teacher and not feel authentic about it. I just want to be authentically myself. And so I'd love one day to like make a course of like, step by step, this is how you manifest and this is how you do this. But like, that's just not what this podcast is. This is just my life, me sharing, just a regular girl, 26 years old, trying to figure it out and just laughing about some shit along the way, like sharing some shit that I've went through and maybe sharing some funny experiences, and, you know, just like girls talking to girls. I would love to have like a podcast where like you're talking with a friend or something and just like, you know, going back and forth about whatever. But this works for me. And like I said, I've always kind of been a little bit of a lone wolf, and I feel like I do have a lot to share that I could help other people. So I am still in my self-development era. I always will be. I always will be trying to learn how to better myself, and, you know, what limiting beliefs can I get rid of, or what technique can I use to help my anxiety, you know, what can I do to get myself out of fight or flight? Those type of things I definitely will be talking about. My next episode probably will be talking about how I am getting myself out of fight or flight, because that's what I'm going through right now. But I want to also touch on those things that people don't talk about. That is important, you know? Like, I want to also be that person that's like, hey, did you know that you store like emotions in your body and they can cause you chronic pain? And I want to share my health journey and things that I'm learning that's making myself better in every aspect of my life, you know, but also like not be so serious. Let's have fun. Let's kick it. Like, let's laugh about some shit. You know what I mean? Like, I hope I'm explaining this in the way that makes sense to everybody. I definitely am still going to keep it spiritual, but like, it's not going to be that like crazy woo-woo ungrounded side of where I used to be. Not that I think it ever went there. I never made an episode that was like crazy, very woo-woo, ungrounded that I am aware of. But like that is just not who I am anymore. So I just want to like reintroduce myself, like, hey, let's kick it, let's chat. And I love podcasts so much. Like I listen to so many different podcasts on my way to work or just driving somewhere. If I have like a long drive, it is one of my favorite things to do. So like I would love to just be that for someone else. Like turn me on your car and drive to get your hair done or wherever you're going on your vacation, and just like, let's kick it, let's chat. Like I want to be friends in that way, because like I said, once again, I've never really felt like I've had like a huge tribe or anything. So this is my outlet for me. Even if no one listens, like this is my way of getting shit off my chest. It's very healing for myself. And like I said, I have learned some things, and I do want to contribute in that way and like help people that might need a little pick me up. But there's also going to be episodes where I'm like being real, and like I might not be super positive and like, have a great message to tell you, but like this is real, this is what I'm going through, and like maybe you're going through it too, and let's just like, sit like, like friends would, like, let's get some blankets, sit by the fire, and maybe drink some hot tea or something. Like I want to be whatever it is for you. So I hope that this gives you a little insight of like what this podcast is about and who I am. I love all things girly, but I also love like alternative rock, punk stuff. Like I love that type of music. I, love makeup, but I also, love shopping, but I also love to talk about, weird shit like this, like that I don't really get to talk about as much with, day-to-day people, because a lot of people aren't into, law of attraction and the way you think alters your reality. And I also, have dialed back a little bit in that way, because it's like you can do too much in the sense of like, when is it ever enough? When is the work that you're doing and the healing that you're doing, when is it ever going to be enough? And like, where do you balance the I'm good enough where I am now? And that's what I'm doing. So I have found a balance in my life where I'm like, okay, this is me. I'm muggle, I'm normal, I'm human, but also like I like holistic things. I want to feed my body like good nutritious things, even though I don't always do it. But I'm always just trying to better myself, learn about what could be toxic and like what I shouldn't consume. And also let's change my mindset and not be so negative, because I am someone that has struggled a lot in the past. And sometimes, it comes up very recent where I get very negative and I get down on myself, and that's normal. And like I want to show the normal sides of stuff, that especially if you are into the spiritual world and the manifestation world, there's just a lot of stuff that I feel they fluff up and make look cute and pretty, and it's like not like that, so I'm the real version of it. I've lived through it. I've spent lots of money on courses, so I'm here to tell you like, hey, you don't have to do that, or you should do, like, if that's what you want to do. I've learned a lot. Yeah, for sure. And I'm still learning. That's the thing. I'm still learning. I'm still stubborn. I still learn things the hard way, for sure. But I'm trying to be better at that. And I'm trying to be aware of my own limiting beliefs and like where I hold myself back in my own life. And trying to just figure out life in general of like, okay, like what is it I want? How am I going to get there? These are the things I've learned, like let's apply them. And yes, I love to keep learning, but also it's like, okay, at what point do I just kind of put the book down, put the course down, and just like really feel into myself? And yeah, that's what I've been doing. I've been really focusing on like releasing a stuck emotion in my body and feeling my feelings and just supporting my body in the way it needs right now. And I've learned a lot with my own health, and just, yeah, it all plays into it. And I'm not going to keep rambling, because I feel like you guys get the gist of what this podcast is and who I am. Hopefully, like, you'll definitely learn more about me as time goes on. But yeah, I'm still figuring it out, but I just want to be a friend and get on here and talk with my other friends, So I hope you guys tune into the podcast. I hope you guys stick around. Make sure you subscribe. I do have this on YouTube if you're listening to the audio version. There's a whole podcast on YouTube of like me face to face. Hi, how you doing? I don't have a set schedule. I like to upload on Sundays. I'd like to get back to that. Right now I'm going through a lot, so I'm trying to give myself what I need, but I just wanted to also make this reintroduction to just introduce the new version of myself that I'm going forward in 2024. I feel like I've changed a lot, and there's things that I want to come across in a different way. I don't want someone to see me as like one set way, you know. I don't want someone to see me as this like hippie person. Like, that's really not who I am. And maybe at some point I was, but I guess I just want people to not like set an expectation. So this podcast honestly is just me. It's just Madison talking about her life, what she's going through, what she's learned, and like, let's laugh about it, because I think also a lot of us take life too seriously, at least I do, and we just need to be able to have some fun with it, you know? Like, let's not get so fucking serious all the time, because I know for me, shit just like hits the fan. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, it's over. It's, you know, I'm so dramatic sometimes. I am. Like, I will admit that. So yeah, like, let's just not take it so serious. But anyways, make sure you subscribe and stick around. Share this with someone that you might think likes this type of content. And I will see you guys in the future episodes. Bye, guys.